Hi guys. Here's something I was thinking about the other day as a result of a discussion we had in our home fellowship, our home church. And we were talking about adversity and how God can use adversity to shape and to form our character. And someone said, well, how do you know when God is the one who is behind the adversity? And let me back up for a second. I think there's three very clear sources of adversity in our life. Number one is the fact that life itself can be difficult. When Adam sinned, do you recall what God said to him? He said, by the sweat of your brow, you're now going to have to make this earth work. You're going to have a tough life, Adam. And so, sometimes we forget the fact that life is just tough. And in fact, things just happen, time, circumstance. So I think that can be one of the sources of adversity. After all, one of the laws of physics is that two objects cannot occupy the same place at the same time. So if I'm driving a car and someone else is driving a car and we're in the exact same place at the same time, we call that an accident. That's not the devil who necessarily did it. It could have been my foolishness, which is the second cause of adversity in our lives. But going back to the first one, just remember, life is tough. God's told Adam it's going to be tough, and things happen. So the other one is there's adversity, difficulty in our lives because we make bad choices. God said he lays out a law in the Bible, and he calls it sowing and reaping. If I sow wisely, I will reap wisely. If I sow foolishly, meaning do stupid, foolish, non-thinking things, then foolishness results are going to happen to me. And so that can be another cause of difficulty in my life. For instance, if I don't treat my body properly, if I eat garbage, never exercise, smoke, drink to excess, what's the results going to be? I'm going to have physical problems, sowing and reaping. I live foolishly, I reap the results of that. So that's the second source of adversity in our lives. And the third source, I believe, is the spiritual battle. I do believe there is an enemy out there, and he is seeking to destroy. He is seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. He does prowl around like a lion, seeking whom he may devour. God is very clear. Even one of the appellations, meaning one of the titles given to Satan, is the adversary. He's also called the opposer, meaning that he is an enemy of God and God's people. So those are the three sources. Now, what the second question was, then what do I do about that? Well, if it's foolishness, start making wise decisions. If it's life, circumstances, or the devil doing it, well, in a lot of ways, to me, it doesn't really matter, other than if I'm being foolish, I want to be wise. But adversity in and of itself doesn't matter. Paul says that we'll be persecuted. The apostles warned everybody that you would suffer for the sake of Christ. And I look at it as, in all of these circumstances, God can work. In all of this adversity, God can work to bring about his glory and his plans and his purposes. So many times for myself, I don't even worry about what's the source of the adversity. I more look to turn to God in it. In fact, in Romans 8:28, I'd like to read that. It says, and we know that in all things, in all circumstances, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. But God can only do that if I allow God to work in those situations. If I am in an adverse situation, say, God, teach me, train me. That, after all, that's what discipline means. It says that God disciplines us as sons. To discipline means to teach, to train. We think of it a lot of times as being punitive and punishing, but that's not what discipline is. After all, aren't we disciples, meaning disciplined ones? And in Philippians chapter 2, verse 12 through 15, it says, therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Meaning continue, persevere, and to work out your own salvation, meaning to work out your own wholeness towards the end of what God has given us. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purposes. Do everything without grumbling, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky. Adversity is going to come. Let's not worry about that. But when it comes, let's persevere and let's turn to God and say, God, teach me, train me, discipline me. Use this adversity to help me to become more like you so that I can shine like one of your stars.